So we live in a very hard time. The world is going through a very hard time at the moment, and there are a lot of problems out there.
Yeah.
How do you think the members of FOI can help in that? How can they support what might be needed to be done?
Well, in the words of Teresa of Avila, we are all the hands and eyes and ears of the divine, of the goddess. And so each individual member can, through their own depth of their own spiritual practice and their own spirituality, but also through what they do, can engage with the world and in their own local lives can and should be part of service to peace and to make a world where that there is more communication, there's more listening. And one thing you could say is that perhaps a masculine response to stress is to fight and flee, fight and flight. And you perhaps a more feminine, more the female aspect of responding to stress is to tend and befriend, where you're listening and you're reaching out rather than pushing away. And I think in this, what's happening at the moment, we have a huge phenomena of people moving away from war and difficult lives, and those who are in the lands receiving these people who are fleeing and moving to hopefully something better, but the reception and the bringing in and the welcoming is something that is really, really important. And I think that the Fellowship of Isis, with the philosophy of honouring the goddess and the divine feminine, can really support actions and a way of being that is more hospitable and caring, but sometimes needs to speak out. It's not just about being warm and cuddly. It is also about sometimes saying no. We need to stand up here and say that this should stop. So it's a subtle thing, and that's where being in tune with your inherent spirituality and connection with the divine, I think, can help and contribute to a better world. And I think the FOI has an important role here.
And perhaps a role of peace weaver.
Absolutely, it's a lovely way of putting it. Indeed, indeed, yes.
So FOI is 40 years old in March of next year. What plans are there afoot to celebrate that?
Oh, there are some wonderful plans. It's going to be based around the Foundation Centre at Huntington or Clonigall Castle in March 19th and 20th of March next year. There's going to be talks, there's going to be a meeting. Hopefully some of those who were there originally, obviously not sadly the three founders, but there were folks who were there. And we're going to also have a festival at the time, because obviously it is the spring equinox, and look at images from the time and films that have been made, and it's going to be a real time of celebrating this wonderful fellowship that was started then and is still so vibrant now.
Olivia Robertson was such a force of nature in many ways, and I know that her vision and inspiration must mean a great deal to you. Do you find that helps you in the ongoing work that you're doing as a steward? Definitely.
As you say, Olivia was a real character and very colourful, and whenever I read her words I can hear her voice, which is really, really lovely. But interestingly enough, she also reminds me very much of my own mother, which has who I love dearly too. So there's a double influence there, which I really appreciate. And I think Olivia was she was able to capture so much. She had an amazing memory, and was a fountain of so many stories that would just flow from her, and experiences, and was able to link so many things together somehow from different pantheons and different worlds. And she was very open to spirit, and she would meditate every day, and would be influenced, and would allow these forces to bring guidance and wisdom. So I think of that in my own spiritual practice as well, to the importance of opening up to this, to our inherent wisdom that is there if we allow it. So she has been very influential.
So I suppose the big question really is, what is your vision for the future of FOI?
Well, my vision for the FOI's future is for it to grow in its strength, and to foster all of the things I was talking about before in terms of the compassion, the service to the world, and to its own members in terms of their own spiritual development, and the use of their spiritual gifts as well, the gifts of the visions that some people have tremendous intuitive and also spiritual vision, and to use this for the good of all. And so I see the FOI in the future as a strong, vibrant fellowship of those who honour and want to connect with the divine feminine, with the goddess. And that this, as the manifesto says, is something for anybody of any religion, of any religious background, or of none. And for this to grow in strength over the years to come, over the decades to come.
That sounds wonderfully positive. So on that note, I think we'll say thank you to Cressida Pryor, steward of the Fellowship of Isis. It's been great talking to you.
Well, thank you, John, for enabling this to happen.
Oh,
it's been
pleasure.
Wonderful.